So when you're buying a home or you're selling a home, there's associated fees for each side. So who pays what and when? Let's start with the buyer side, and then we can make a separate video for the seller side. We usually tell our buyers to expect to pay anywhere from 2 to 3% of the purchase price in closing fees. So what do those fees include? Usually you're going to have a lender. So when you have a lender, lenders have their own fees, of course. You can estimate your lender fees to be anywhere from $1,000 up to $1,500. That's assuming that you're not paying any points to the lender to buy down your rate. Next, you're going to have to close at a title company, and of course the title company has their own fees. I've seen $1,800 up to $2,500. Those fees include title fees, doc fees, email fees, pizza fees, any fee that they can throw on there, courier fees. Regardless of how they label their fees, you're gonna end up paying anywhere, like I said, between $1,800 to $2,500. Some cities, depending on where you close, have buyer paid transfer stamps. So that varies from city to city. Usually a certain amount, $1, $2 per thousand of purchase price gets tacked on into the closing. Now there's some other fees that you're going to pay as a buyer, but it's not going to be at closing. You're going to pay them at the time of the service. One of those fees is an inspection. So if you're buying a single family home, again, depending on the size, you can expect to pay anywhere from $300 to $500, again, depending on the size of the home. Another thing that comes along with the inspection sometimes is a radon test. Again, depending on where you live, depending on if it's a condo, what level the condo is on. If you are planning to have a radon test, you can expect another $150 to $190 tacked on to that inspection cost. Then there's sewer inspection costs. There's plenty of other items. We always recommend that our buyers buying a single family in the suburbs test for radon and check the sewer lines to make sure everything is clear. Sewer lines, you can expect another $200 to $300 to run a camera through and see how the sewer line looks. Those are big items that are important because you don't want to get caught as a buyer not having checked those and then running into a problem after you close, because repairing a sewer line is pretty expensive. Another cost that you're going to be paying during the process and not at closing is for the appraisals. So the lender is going to send out their appraiser, and usually you're going to pay for the appraisal at that time. Some lenders will tack it on into your closing costs and you'll just pay it at the closing. Most of the time you're going to pay it beforehand when the appraisal is done. One nice thing is you're going to actually be getting a credit back from the seller at the closing for property taxes. So when the next property tax bill comes out, you're going to have to pay that. However, most of that property tax bill, you didn't own the home. So what's going to happen is the seller at the closing is going to give you a credit for the time that they own the property from the beginning of the year to the time that you close, and they're going to give you those taxes, so when the bill comes out, you're going to use that money to pay the tax bill. So while it may feel like when the tax bill comes out, you're getting hit for a pretty large tax bill and you just moved in, you actually got that money from the seller. One last fee that, again, that is usually paid at the closing is your attorney fee. So your attorney fee is usually what flat rate. They don't do hourly for a buyer closing. You can expect anywhere from $5.95 up to $7.50. Again, a lot depends on the type of property that you're purchasing and who the attorney is. Take a look at the next video in regards to selling and what the costs of selling are.